I recently asked you in a community post to let me know about some boss themes that were absolute bangers and really good, but the boss themselves kind of sucks. You didn't disappoint. With over 546 options to choose from, let's listen to a whole bunch. First up is Chairman Rose from Pokemon Sword and Shield. This actually came up quite a bit on this list, and I'm kind of curious as to hear why. It's been a minute since I've heard Chairman Rose's theme. I don't remember, nor have I fought him, so you'll have to fill me in for why he sucks. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny picturing this guy having a theme that starts so epically and so like with great fervor and ferocity from a choir. Generally speaking, this is not the type of theme that I would. This guy feels more like it's like a smooth jazz kind of guy. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure that Chairman Rose has the desire to like, I don't even know what his purpose is in Pokemon. I don't remember. It's almost comical how incredibly cool that theme is, but he has such a very chill, happy, basic look here. Look, he's smiling. He's a happy guy, and yet his theme is kind of evil. And I suppose maybe he is evil. Maybe he wants to combine all of the Pokemon into one, and then we can't allow that for whatever reason. I mean, amazingly, this really feels like this is do or die, right? The end of the line, the end of the world, as it were. Right? Like this is kind of all or nothing. And I find it kind of interesting too that we really, the way that it's structured with the piano intermingling at times and so on and so forth, it feels more like our back is against the wall and we are at the end of the road. Like there's no other path forward. This is kind of a do or die scenario, which is kind of interesting for me for Pokemon because usually you just think of the Elite Four or something. This particular case, this really feels like this is the last chance to save the planet almost. It's a beautiful little gesture, and I want to just draw your attention to it. So we have the sopranos going, oh, well, we have the chant and the men there. Really effective. Really fun little detail there, just worth pointing out. Wow, crazy upper register singing there. Yeah, and so again, I mean, it has this synthetic quality to it where it's a little bit twisted, it's a little bit contorted, but then also has that air of classical writing, but it's deformed and twisted, which is, I think, fun. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Why do you think that Chairman Rose is a little limp, as it were? Because the music here is really astounding. There's a real sound and presence of danger in this, which is actually extremely exciting to listen to. And I like how it's twisted. I like how it's modified. I like how it's a classical piece, but it also has this dynamic of terror behind it, and a little bit of I think Chairman Rose just winked at me. I was very concerned there. There is this energy in that of twistedness of really truly being a bad person in a very epic little track. But I'm curious as to why it kind of falls flat in the actual gameplay. Moving on to Living Failures from Bloodborne. Living Failures is funny because I actually think that if you're not careful, this is an enemy that can totally overwhelm you. And from a plot perspective, Living Failures is kind of sad and very twisted. I'm amazed that people felt like this is actually a weak boss. Yes, okay, fine. They don't really attack and you just kind of hack at them and then they, conjoin and they essentially invite the whatever. But I hesitate to say that this is a sort of silly boss, or a bad boss because it's Bloodborne, and frankly, Bloodborne is perfect. So how dare you even suggest it? But since we all love hosts the planets, we might as well allow ourselves to spend some time with Living Failures. Absolutely love how it starts with that lower brass there. And then you have that very quiet violin underneath. The boop. Right, it's that coming into play, it's that invitation. It's kind of dangerous. There's this moving towards something. To me, it just feels like the Living Failures are coming out of the woodwork. Larger and larger and more volume, and the choir reaps in. Ah! Right, loud, building, 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 building. But it's such a subtle little thing there that I want to point out too, is that we have this chorus, right? You have that. And then you have the exact same idea in the instruments circling back to that. And that's really the Living Failure is in the sound. We could have been something. I could have been a contender. And then it slowly is like, oh no, I totally am a failure. There's a big shift there. And you really feel like it's all kind of it's slimy. It's like, it's soft. It's slimy. It decays. It sort of wilts. Much like my, anyway. I find that is a gorgeous sound. Obviously it borrows quite a bit. That rhythmic gesture is very strongly hosts the planet's Mars, though Jupiter is my favorite. And that decay is really excellent. We fall apart, we slip through, and we decay. We're really evocative. And I think, like, again, if you took Bloodborne's entire soundtrack and put it in a concert hall and you presented it to concert goers who are not used to this kind of music, they would have no idea that this is from a video game. You wouldn't even have to tell them anything. You just say, hey, this is Living Failures. I hope you enjoy it. That's it. They would be miffed. They would be perplexed. They would think that it's like the next best thing. They have no clue what they're missing. There's a whole world of people that have no idea that this music exists. And you and I, who happen to be fans of video game music, we know the good stuff. And it's not to say that there's not great classical music. Of course there is. But there's also this. This is a whole world of classical music right here in Bloodborne. Pretty amazing. The juxtaposition between the chorus, doing that thing, and then we have the brass going in the opposite direction. So that clash is very interesting because it's like whoop, and it adds, obviously, that large section there. That brass is very pronounced, of course. It's that lower brass. And then we get this momentum, right? Da dee da da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 hey 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 hey. Tremolo, build it, build it, build it, build it, build it, let's hit it. Hey, da, 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 da. That reminds me so much of John Williams when with the Death Star, when they hit it, kid, and they shoot the rocket, the plasma blast into the Death Star core, spoilers for Star Wars, and blow up the Death Star. Ba 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 bum ba ra ba bee ba toom. Now hit it, kid, and let's go home. And you fly off. It's almost like the living failures say, we were wronged, we were destroyed, we didn't deserve this. Ba 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 ra da da ya da da ya. You know, Bloodborne is my happy place, and you know what? Fine. Do I think that the living failures are the best boss in Bloodborne? No. Do I think their music is absolutely banging? Yes. So it fits, unfortunately. Super Mario Galaxy 2 is interesting because I actually felt that Bowser was kind of easy in Super Mario Galaxy 1. I have not gotten to Super Mario Galaxy 2, but I have heard that Bowser's theme is kind of short-lived. Nothing really happens because Bowser himself is kind of easy in Super Mario Galaxy 2. So it was kind of easy in Super Mario Galaxy 1. So let's check out Final Bowser Battle from Super Mario Galaxy 2. So I want to draw your attention to one key thing that I hope you've noticed by now. Every single theme that I have played in this video so far has all included some sort of a chorus. Did you notice? Rewind the video. Ba 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 brum, tika-tika-dum, doubling with the piano. Ah ha ha bra. This is actually about Mario, not about Bowser, though, because it's major. Oh, tension in this. Love that rhythm. Listen to this. You hear those strings rip? Oh man. Now that's the kind of stuff, those little tiny details that just send it home. They just make it feel like, yeah. You know, that's the kind of little musical gestures that make an experience so much more interesting for us, because that's the thematic idea that gets us off of our feet. You know, we're running around in a Z angle and we're trying to dodge whatever else. We're trying to jump on the thing. And it's like, that's the jumping sound of avoiding getting hit. I mean, like all these little tiny things that just make a piece great. And then also through this beautiful unison singing with the lower piano, it just sends you off. I mean, it's just great. Like, that's great. See, and then amazingly, listen to how heroic Mario is, because it's very subtle. Mario's like, don't worry, I got this. And so there's this jumping motion right here. Ready? I got this. A little dangerous, Mario's like, don't worry, it's me, Mario. Now it's optimistic. Right? Right? It shifted, and I think that's really genius because you don't catch the shift until the shift happens, which then sends home the idea of like, motherfucking Mario. You know? The first half is like, oh shit, that's Bowser. Damn. Spiky. And then Mario says, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of it. It's me. And then that's when we get that major bright, you know, everything kind of shit. Even though we're within the same umbrella and all the movement is sort of the same, now it's actually optimistic and it flips the script a little bit. And that's a spicy meatball. Right? We go up. Beautiful flute woodwind movement there. And then we're back into it. See that? So you have this glimpse of a moment of possibility with Mario, you know? It's kind of like, you know, in the body. And then all those little lifts there, I don't think they're really doing this, but those technically could be vocalic stops where we're essentially lifting glottal stops where we're so we're puffing the air. And when you do that, what that does is it makes the vocal cords go like this. Beep, 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 beep. Right? So it's not it's a little bit sharper. And that sharpness helps sell the idea that this is a final bottle. And we're in a moment of tension, which is why that lift is really important. Because if it was just it's boring. Right? It's great. Now it's shifted up. Right? Etc., etc., etc. And it's amazing because throughout this piece, the woodwinds there, the flutes more specifically, and the piccolo flute, as they go up, I mean, there's an ascension. You know, there's a lot of like fun. So the core of that is that all that stuff. In between all that, that's where we have accentation, and you know, there's the filling out, and there's a richness and texture that's there to enhance that main motivic idea, and it sells it unbelievably well. It's really good. Let's move over to Sonic Generations 3DS. I've never heard this before. Big Arm. Why specifically 3DS? Because Sonic Generations, well, because it's on the 3DS. Okay, I don't know. I think I fought Big Arm in the other version of Sonic Generations, but I can't remember. But this is what happens when you listen to thousands of pieces of music. All of it, you forget. People are like, why do you always play the same songs? Because I can't remember any of them. Love that unison movement there. Hell yeah. Nice. this little gesture right here. What a great track. But you hear how it goes ba dee da 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 be da dee da bom bing da da dum dee da dee. So we have that main idea be da dee do dee do dee do, that cascading down. But then in between there, you have this lovely little moment where it's like ba dee da. Hey, I just told you something. But hey, you know, and so it's this little like I don't want to call it a call and response really, because it's not fully that. I mean, it kind of is. I guess it is. But I love that, and I actually. What a banging track. Like, this is actually sick, because then you get the electric guitar come in. You get the electric guitar coming in. There's a real sense of God, it's just badass. I mean, that's really all there is to it, isn't there? I think it's because of the beat. I mean, realistically, this track is nothing crazy, right? Go ba 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 ya da da boom da 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 boom. It's kind of the same gestures each time, and yet I think this is really interesting because it has that heavy beat, da, and that I think really helps to fill out this, the fairly basic sort of right? Like it's not doing anything crazy, and yet it's kind of like you feel a little bit of danger in there. Love that harmony. It's so fun. See, this is a prime example, but in a different way than the Super Mario Galaxy track. Like here, we have actually this balance between Big Arm and Sonic, where the middle section where we just heard with the harmonies and stuff, that's all Sonic and awesome. And then this part, you do feel like this tension inherent, like, I don't know, kind of danger. Like, it's not silly. It actually does feel kind of stressful, and it does feel like it's like, oh, shoot, like this is a bad situation, right? But then you get that little glimmer of like, Sonic's got it. Look, he's got the two electric guitars. Like, he's fine. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. Nice lift. Very heavy, powerful, grungy. Really, like, you sit in it, you know? That's fun. And then ironically, what's really cool is that that's a full song. Like, there's no repeats. Like, there's repeated ideas, but there's not repeated. It's not a repetitive piece of music. It actually varies and shifts on itself, and there's like variations within it. So it feels like it's in a loop, but it's actually not, which I think is masterfully done. And it's crazy that Big Arm is, I can't remember Big Arm at all, but it's crazy how hard that track goes for Big Arm. That's really, really, really fun. I'm gonna go over to Red Sun, Sundowner from Metal Gear Rising. Metal Gear Rising, as a like Metal Gear fan, I have not enjoyed the bit that I've played, but I don't know why this would be like a lame boss. But anyway, this is Red Sun. Sick riff, sick melody, of course. Red Sun. Red sun over paradise. Red sun over paradise. Rays of the glorious sunshine, setting down such a blood red light. Now the animals slowly. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting track. I do appreciate, well, the lyrics are funny. I mean, basically, like, everything's going into hiding because the red sun is covering over paradise, and so there's a danger approaching. I really dig the intro electric guitar very much, and I also appreciate the way that it's written. It really does feel like it's kind of oppressive. Like, the whole point of it is the idea that, like, things are not going well, and everything is changing around you, and you're SOL because the red sun is coming over is over paradise and you're in trouble. Do I like that from a personal perspective? Not very much. It's kind of noisy and it's cool. I don't have like a problem. Like, I hate it, but it's not really a track that really like calls to me. I really appreciate that vocally it's all kind of in this like growl state. What's red sun over paradise? So it's all like kind of push into the lower register, which gives it a really nice sense of like badassery, and that there's this sound of like a willingness to like destroy you. But do I like it? But it's fun to listen to at the very least. I want to go over to Disposal Unit. I don't know why this is in here, because I guess because the bosses in Darktide are somewhat easy, or because it's like it's like for every boss. But I mean, it's one of my favorite tracks. You don't gotta tell me twice to listen to this. Jesper Kid is amazing. Truly one of the more badass tracks I've ever heard. This is the Disposal Unit Imperium mix. Really interesting here how it starts in like two rhythmic ideas and then they merge. Coming up here in a second. You can kind of start to hear the chant really leans it in, and then we start to pick up in tempo. See, and then the rhythm gets in. Oh, it's such a cool little gesture. I don't know. Note too that the vocals, I hate to stop it, but the vocals are slightly ahead or behind at times. And so it gives it a real immediacy and real rawness because, again, they're just shouting and the whole thing is just like, it just kind of feels bad. It just kind of feels like things are not good. And so there's this inherent quality in it of like danger and also of like kind of disgust and like, what the hell is happening? Like the whole thing is just kind of twisted. And I think that really sells it. I mean, just a little bit of that like naturalness, a little bit of that like imperfection, I think really sends it home. See, you hear it? Plus they're kind of distorted and they're kind of like like the way that they're it's like kind of like almost like a possession. And then we switch off. You get the chant back, gives it a second to rest, but not really. And it's just incessant rhythm. Da, 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 oh, oh. Random choir out of nowhere. Da, 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 da. And then it's all like in microtone. Da, da, da. Or well, in like half steps. Da, 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 ya, da, da, ya, dee, da, da, da. Da-da, da-da. Then that drone's on. Cheer, 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 cheer. And you get, again, like, what is that distorted, like, into the metal kind of sound? Like, it's just an absolute banger. I mean, like, that track is amazing. The Dark Tide soundtrack, especially this first 2 discs, crazy good. I mean, like, experimental, weird. It's very Jesper Kid, and it's one of the best soundtracks in video game history, in my opinion. And that's always a delight to listen to. Now, I don't know if it comes with a lame boss, because every time I've heard it, I've always been feeling pretty freaking good about what I was facing. But yeah, that's a sick track. It's an all-timer for sure. I want to pop over to Destiny 2. This, of course, is the Panoptis Infinite Mind fight from Destiny 2. I haven't heard this in a minute. It's very long, so I won't listen to the entirety of the soundtrack, but this is definitely a pretty lame fight. Mostly because it boils down to like just grabbing the thing and chucking it. It very much becomes a fight on rails, which I think anybody would argue that it gets a little bit, sort of lame after a while. So you arrive and it feels like it has this, this tension. It feels like, whoa, what are we stumbling upon here? Holy crap, this is like the thing that's been causing this whole issue. Let me pop over to action full. This is the full of the action sequence. Little twisting there. Really subtle brass in the back half there. You get a nice motif there. I forget what that motif's from. Da, ya, da, 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 da. Now, I don't necessarily think that that is a sexy or like, you know, when people are thinking of Destiny music, I don't think the Panoptis, the Infinite Mind is coming to mind. Frankly, even for myself, I feel like I'm like, okay, like where are we going with this? There's no build up, right? And it's because obviously it's an 18-minute track. There's multiple different phases, so on and so forth. But it does have a little bit of that. It has that juice in it, that Vex milk of tension, and as if you're dealing with something very methodical and structured. Let's pivot over to the full high action sequence really quick, the full action. And obviously it's kind of like an alarm. It's like waking up, you know what I mean? You know, I mean, this track is interesting because on the one hand, it's very slow, it's very methodical. It doesn't feel like it's great. Like it's good music in the sense that I think it builds tension and showcases distress, and it showcases like, hey, like you're up against something that's really, really, really formidable, but it's also methodical in its process. So it's really thinky and everything is very lined up and very efficient and very thought out. And this is like a higher being than you. And so how do you leverage that? So I definitely get that from the music, but it does kind of feel like it misses the mark a little bit in terms of like what I'm thinking when I think of like one of the best boss themes ever made for a really kind of crappy boss. I mean, like to me, it's like the boss is kind of lame, and I remember this boss, but musically, I'm also not feeling the sense of like drive in it or the sense of impetus where, you know, like I really feel like it's a desperate or you know, necessary thing to do. It's interesting. I think there are better Destiny tracks, but the problem is that there are other bosses in Destiny that are better than this that also have great music, and that's not the point of this whole video, which is like great boss music for pretty average or mediocre bosses. Unfortunately, I kind of think like the music is also a little bit average here, where it doesn't really do anything to really spice it up or make it more interesting than it really is. Let's go over to Terraria Torch God. Now, I don't know anything about the Torch God, and I really don't know anything about Terraria, but I know the music's good. So let's give it a listen. That's twisted. Okay. All right. Sick. Yeah. Okay. I can get down with that. It's a little bit twisted. That goes so heavy for whatever reason. Sick. I'm so miffed by this sound in the back because feels like kind of pleasant, like it's kind of peaceful and has a vibe to it. So why is it that then there's this incredibly heavy electric guitar? Because it does go really hard. You play this at the gym, you'll have a great time, but I'm trying to figure out why. And then it's interesting because then we get the that twist, and all of a sudden you're like awake, and this thing is like a really, really scary and dangerous and mysterious, and has this quality in it that it wants to like eat you and kill you. The electric guitar is also doing that legwork, so it's kind of interesting to have that juxtaposition. Whereas earlier it's a little bit like, whoa, what did I accidentally stumble on? I stepped on something bad. Oh no, is that poo? Oh God! And now all of a sudden there's an electric guitar, and this thing is chasing me. Why am I why am I outrunning this? And then the thing is like smirking and smiling, and it's just sort of an interesting sound. Also note that it's just constantly droning, so it like retains that rhythm and that momentum and that movement consistently, and then it'll circle back into that. That's a fun little theme. It really is. Like that is intense, and it's, I think, very deserving of whatever setting it's in, but I find it funny that it goes super hard for what is apparently a fairly lame boss. I assumed all bosses were incredible in Terraria. So Cuphead, the root pack. Now I'm pretty sure the root pack is the boss of the very first mission you do, the onion, the carrot, and the... Yes, it is. First enemy you fight in Cuphead. And this game had me molding so bad, but there are some bosses that are way harder later, so it makes sense that this is kind of a lame fight, because realistically, it's pretty straightforward when you consider what happens later. So let's take a listen.
A great slam and then some. It's all.
And I stand by the idea that Cuphead is probably one of the more unique and original and special games to ever come out, frankly. It is so fresh, it is so special, and shoot, I'm really not good with hard games these days, and games require any sort of patience. But Cuphead is really unique, with not only with its visual style, of course, if you've never played it, which I'm sure you have, but I really, really encourage it because it's just so unique. And on top of that, to throw in like 1920s big band, swing, and a bunch of similar genres to essentially produce and create this sound that is in line with its visuals is such a bold and phenomenal choice. But on top of that, it just works. Like there's like some jazz improvisation that goes on in here. It's just really special and really unique, and frankly, there's nothing else like it. Really, not really, which is amazing. And so the question becomes like, was this written because of this particular character in this particular boss battle, or was it written as a standalone and then they inserted it in a specific place? I don't know the answer to that question, but I think it's kind of compelling that all this stuff is literally just like an album of 1920s big band swing music that doesn't need anything else but itself. This is a prime example of music outliving a game, where like, yeah, you may play Cuphead once, but then you listen to the soundtrack or the soundtrack for the DLC or whatever, and you take it on the road, and there you go. Like you have a piece of essentially like what I would call historical music that is written in a modern era, and that's really special and really unique, and I think incredibly fresh, and I frankly extremely appealing because it doesn't need the game to stand on its own. It's really interesting when music does this, and when we especially in games where we're playing the game, we're experiencing the music, we're having a good time, and then we take it and we listen to it in the car, or listen to it at the gym, or listen to it while studying or whatever, and all of a sudden it's like it doesn't need the game really. And I think Cuphead is a prime example. Now, whether or not this boss is actually lame, questionable. It's certainly easier than the rest of the very, very much easy compared to the rest of the bosses in Cuphead. But I still think it's kind of hard if you don't know what you're doing, other than, shoot straight and make sure you hit it. So I don't know. This was a really cool experiment, and I really would love to do more of it. I do have like 300 suggestions or more, really. But if you have any other songs that you think are really cool from games that have bosses that kind of suck, but the song's amazing, I would love to see those in the comments below. Feel free to check out the Discord. Feel free to subscribe to the Patreon if you want to support the channel more directly. And yeah, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.